This is to my nephew. My nephew, this is your pot stirring uncle. I am the pot stirrer. So all I can tell you is do not ever forget a couple of things. First and foremost, that not everything happens like it does in your own backyard. There are a lot of different circumstances in a lot of different places. Although I genuinely appreciate your humor because I think you are quite funny, young man, I also want you to know that just because things appear the way they seem doesn't necessarily mean that that's the way that they are. So I want to continue to stir this pot so as to encourage you to be a young, critical thinker who grows up into an old, cantankerous man like me. Because as long as you are focused on all the treasures of this world and not willing to forfeit your life, you will not understand why you should be hopeful for the kingdom of heaven. Now, there's all kinds of different sadness involved in thinking, you know what? I'm stuck. I gotta do this, whatever. And I'm with you. The other video, you were like, this sucks. It's an attitude. It's an attitude. Look, if you want to stay home, you need to remember one thing. Not every young man and young woman is fortunate enough to be in your situation. You experience the consequences of what it's like to have parents that care enough about you to tell you, I said no. The older that people get, the more they realize how right their parents were. And when their parents were wrong, the older that individual gets, the more they will realize, you know what? It was me that made it so difficult for them to tell me the truth. And the truth is, you could tell this whole planet to stay home, and they won't. And there's a few reasons why, but one of the biggest reasons why is because there's a lot of people that don't understand that when their parents tell them no, that does not mean go ask dad. That does not mean but why. No means no. Our blessed Lord reminds us all to let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. Anything else, he says, is from the devil. So just because we want certain things does not mean that we're entitled to them. And it does not mean that our loving Father will give them to us. But it doesn't mean that you're wrong entirely. Because in certain places where there are great numbers of pockets of people, it's true. You're safer at home. The emphasis is her. Anyone who believes that they are truly safe at home, including the President of the United States, seems to think that somehow your house is a bubble. And you know what? That's a product of watching way too much news. Years ago, a movie called The Network was exposing kind of the problem. That the news tells you a story to which their most important objective is, it's too dangerous to do anything other than watch us. So keep that television on and stay right there. But please, sit right there, because we'll be right back. Hence the laundry list of commercial breaks that infect even YouTube. The closer you get to an election, the more you will be faced with the unskippables. Because YouTube is not a platform. It's a publisher. And that's why, even if you do not put commercial revenue on your videos, even if you don't see a cent of it, at any point, that publisher says, well, we need to pay for our space. Please enjoy this political ad. So anyway, I'm making this video also, as you can see, because I'm not at home. And I wanted to say there was another point that I wanted to make, so as to stir the pot. Which home are we talking about? When people tell you to stay home, you're right. Stay home and click these clickbait ads. Click this, click that, stay home, watch with me. Watch me, watch me. Click home and watch me. Stay home and click me. But what really ends up happening is everybody stays home. Those who stay home, that watch all that stuff, are getting reinforced lies. Lies, 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 lies. They're reinforcing everybody else's yes. Our governor is allowing phase 1 to happen. And our wonderful bishop is now allowing outdoor masses to be had so as to comply with no 10 people in the building, people spread out. The speakers are going to allow the audio to be broadcast out. And the real truth of the matter is, if you go to any grocery store with your mother, you will see many, 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 many more than 10 people in that place. Now, you could call it a grocery store essential, but I could call my church home. As essential as a grocery store is to the physical body, or could be to the physical body, my spiritual home is my place of worship. And the Bill of Rights, built into the First Amendment, even though, yes, temporarily it was for safety, but to carry on indefinitely with no real, exit strategy. The number one killer in this country, I do not believe, is the coronavirus. The number one killer in this country is heart disease and diabetes. That is the number one killer of COVID victims. Heart disease and diabetes. So if that's the case, I don't want to infect people. So I wear a mask, I maintain social distance, I carry around my friggin' hand sanitizer, I only go out for necessities, and I do not go into places if there's more than 10. I walk out. That's the kind of distance that I maintain. I go over and above. But as far as staying home, again, where's home? And when you say stay home, and I like talking to the imaginary friend, very clever, going crazy, I understand. But you have an entirely real friend that lives right there in your heart, my friend. You were confirmed, I think. But you definitely had communion, I think. You have a friend that lives in your heart, and he is not imaginary. He is I am. He said it many times. So you're good to go, dude. And you can talk to him anytime you want. I am actually going to visit him because we sign up with Sign Up Genius, no more than 10 people in the place, and we get to adore our blessed Lord. And he gets to come to me spiritually on the daily. But I just want to go and tell him I love him, tell him I'm praying for my niece, my nephews, and all of my extended family. And I'm telling you, I think you should keep this up. Regardless, I think you're learning some really good lessons. And I wish you and I could do a virtual game of chess, because I need some pointers.